So hello everyone, welcome to this week's YouTube tutorial. I'm Mike Ingledew and I'm all about making you successful with your integrated product support strategies, whether that's identifying the right standards and specifications, the right software tools, or just developing your skills and knowledge around the theme of integrated product support. Now, I know that I've been very quiet. Unfortunately, YouTube is not my main source of income, and I've been doing lots of training, consulting over the last few months, and YouTube has had to, unfortunately, take a little bit of a back seat. But I'm back. There's a little bit of a lull in work, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's coming from TDW over the next couple of months, and you can get involved, and you can send me your thoughts and your ideas. Anyway, this week, we are going to be talking about the S-Series of integrated product support specifications. If you were at the S1000D user forum back in November 2019, when we were allowed to go out and play and we all were together, pre-COVID, we were all able to hug and kiss in these big conferences. We were told there by the official body that manages all of the specifications and standards from the ASD, ATA, AIA community about the alignment of a number of specifications, the S-Series specifications, and how they were going and aiming for a block release of specifications. And there's a reason behind that, which we're going to cover here today. But last week, they actually announced that the S-Series specification, the first block release, had actually been made public, which is why I'm doing the YouTube video here. And today we're going to talk about how you can access and gain access to these specifications. So we're going to talk about the S-Series block release and what's included in that block release. Now, over the next few weeks, we're going to go and have a look at individual specifications in a little bit more detail. So if you want to be notified when we go and have a look at those specifications, hit that subscribe button, tinkle my bell, and you'll get notified when I release those videos. So we're going to look at this S-Series block release, and the S-Series of specifications is not something that I own. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the ASD community. The ASD community, supported by a whole bunch of large and small manufacturers, maintaining organizations, and volunteers, software companies. There's a whole group of experts that help develop these specifications. So don't for a minute think that this is Ingledew's idea and I came up with these, because I certainly did not. Brains better than mine came up with these specifications. So the S-Series specifications, we have now what is called the block release. And what is the purpose of this block release? Well, it's about harmonizing the S-Series specifications and the processes, the data flows, and the data domains. So what we will cover over the next few weeks is what's the purpose of the S-Series, and why have they thought that this is a good idea, and what do I think the S-Series is going to bring to our products and our product support of the future. So we are going to certainly be covering that, but it's all about harmonizing the data flows, the processes between these data domains. I call them data domains. So, and I've got some great animations on how these domains talk to each other and how the data flows and the processes go from domain to domain in our product support cycles. So it's all about harmonizing these individual specifications. And it's also about giving industry clarity on what's the release schedule is for our specifications. I say our specifications, they're not my specifications, but for the specifications, what is that formal release schedule? And we've been told that, if you don't know, they're planning or aiming for a 2-yearly cycle of a block release. So this is the first block release of its kind, and they're now planning on every 2 years. I actually believe for some of the specifications that introduces some risk and I'm going to talk about that over the coming weeks, specifically around one of the specifications that I'm involved with much more on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to talk about that, and I think that actually is going to cause us some problems in the future. But we now have this agreed and aligned future release schedule and of the S-Series specifications. There is a but there, and I'm going to talk about that at the back end of this short presentation, because there is one specification, the special one, the Jose Mourinho of the S-Series specifications, or the ASD AIA ATA specifications, whichever way you want to talk about it. And that's a football joke for those of you outside of the UK. The Jose Mourinho one of the S1000D that we're going to talk about very shortly. So what's included in this block release? Well, we have SX000H, which is the harmonized suite of S-Series integrated product support specifications at issue 1.0. What I've done here is I've also included the formal and official URL that you can go and download these specifications and have a look at them and see if it's something that interests you and flicks your switch. So we have SX000H, we have SX000I, depending on how you say it. I say SX000I because it just comes off the tongue a little bit easier for me. Issue 3.0 was now released, and this specification's actually generating a lot of discussion, a lot of debate, and there's a lot of work has gone into this specification. And if you compare even just one issue ago to what's in the specification now, the change and the improvement in the specification is pretty huge. So I encourage you to go and download that and have a read. And there's some good guidance in there and gives some good overview of each individual specification. S2000M is a specification that I am involved with, and issue 7.0 has been released, although I'm not sure it's actually available on the website yet. I think that's going to happen very shortly, but it is and has been released. And I'm going to do a tutorial on what's new in S2000M over the next coming weeks, and we're going to look at how it's now aligning itself more to the S-Series, and it's using much more terminology from the S-Series. And we're also going to cover over the next couple of weeks, does this mean if you are using 2000M that you now have to adopt all of these other supporting S-Series specifications? We're going to dissect that question too. So S2000M, S3000L, the international specification for logistic support analysis at issue 2.0 is now available, so you can go and download that. I'm not an ILS expert by any means. I know enough to have a good conversation with people, but that specification is now available, and you can go and download and have a look at that from the s3000l.org. 4000P, the international specification for developing scheduled maintenance, is now at issue 2.1. Interesting specification. I've had a read through it, had a look through it. But again, it's part of the S-Series. It's part of this connected suite of specifications, and you can go and download that from the formal website. What else do we have in the S-Series block release? We have 5000F, and this is one of those specifications which I think is going to become increasingly more interesting, especially as we start talking about how we're connecting all of these data domains, how we're going to be able to actually use the data from the design to the decommission, or whichever way that you want to talk about it. And how we can then use that data, that feedback, that in-service feedback along the life of that platform to actually influence our designs or product support of the future. So that's available from s5000f.org. 6000T is a new specification that I am increasingly becoming more interested in, not because it's a new way of doing our training content. It's not necessarily a new way of doing things, but some of the methods that they're implementing are based on legacy methods, but actually some of the technologies that they're using and some of the new ways that they want to work with training content and actually the training individual is quite interesting to me, and I'm finding myself getting more drawn into little conversations around that. So 6000T, I'm not actually formally involved with that. I have been added to a task team between S1000D and 6000T to talk about how these two little specifications are going to work together and talk together, and what does 6000T need and what does S1000D need to support. So, but this is one of those specifications that is becoming increasingly more talked about, depending on which side of the Atlantic you are on. But there are large organizations, all of these specifications indeed are being talked about at the very highest level, from the procurers of hardware to the developers of that hardware, on how they can use and leverage the S-Series specifications, the connected specifications for their product support. SX001G is just a glossary, and I've not looked at this one in detail yet, because I know that this is something that we are going to have to develop over the coming months and make sure that it's actually fully supportive of all of the S-Series specifications. SX0002D is the common data model. If you don't know what the common data model is, go and download that specification. How do we get the data flows from all of these S-Series specifications talking to each other? How do we align those data flows? And we're going to be talking a little bit about the common data model over the coming weeks. I've put some animations together which I think actually shows the common data model and in theory how it's supposed to be working. Brains way better than mine are working behind the scenes on how to align all of these specifications, how to align the S-Series to external standards and specifications as well. So brains much more sophisticated than mine are working on that. But that's available also off the sx000i.org website. We have the SX004G, which is the UML model for the actual IPS specifications. If you're a software developer or database designer, you'll be totally familiar with this. But go and have a look at those and see how that works. And we have the final specification that was actually released as part of this block release, looking at the XML schema implementation guide. Again, a lot of these specifications are available from the just from the SX000i website, so go and download a lot of them from there, all in PDF format, ready for you to download. There's no registration needed. You can just go and download them and start looking at them. So those are what was in the first block release. So where is S1000D and Simplified Technical English? I hear a lot of you screaming. Well, what about S1000D? So we have to think about the Jose Mourinho of the S-Series specifications, or is it actually formally part of the S-Series specifications? Is it not? Is there a tenuous link? Is there a direct link? It really depends on who you're talking to and what the position is. But at the end of the day, it actually is designed to work within the S-Series specifications too. And we already know that things like 2000M will communicate with the S1000D specification. But the problem with S1000D is that it is owned by multiple organizations, and there's an additional owner, if you like, of the S1000D specification, which are not directly involved with the S-Series specifications. So it adds a little bit of complexity to the management, if you like, of the S1000D specification and how it's integrated into the wider S-Series. So it's managed and maintained separately, and that's due to the ownership. And there is, depending on who you're talking to, depends on which answer you get, on whether it's actually going to be formally and officially aligned with the S-Series specifications in future block releases, or, you've got those that say it won't happen. I don't know. I'm not a formal mouthpiece for that. But you can go and get S1000D from s1000d.org if you're not already familiar with that website, and download it. Now, this is one of those areas that I personally have a concern that if S1000D is only going to go through 2 yearly updates, then we run a risk of it becoming out of date very quickly. I'm going to do a tutorial on that, and I'm going to talk about that over the coming weeks. So make sure you like and you subscribe. Simplified Technical English, for those of you who are in that camp. Issue 8 has been available for a little while now, actually, and it was released before the block release, and you can learn a little bit about what's involved and what's been included in issue 8. We did a webinar with Kieran Dodd probably 2 or 3 months ago now, that she went through what's in the new issue 8 of Simplified Technical English. Go and watch that to your heart's content off our website. And there's the formal link for the STE or the STE download there. The only difference is with STE, you actually have to register. You fill out a little form, and they will send it to you. So how can you learn more about these S-Series specifications? Well, as you know, or if you don't know, we run an annual event, TDW Live, here in the UK. It's in its 11th year this year. And again, this year, as we did last year, we've given up some slots and some spaces to the S-Series community to actually promote a little bit about what the S-Series specifications are about, what they're going to be used for, how they're going to talk to each other. And that's actually being run by the industry body here in the UK called Team Defence Information. And they are proposing the agenda, and it's online. You can see it. I'll put the link down below very shortly, and you can join us for that event. So you can learn a little bit more about the software tools and the vendors that are already starting to support the S-Series. Another tutorial I'm going to do on that over the coming weeks is because I'm seeing a market shift from the standard traditional software tools to a more integrated tool set. So I'm going to talk about that. But there are a couple of vendors that are going to be there that are already and have shared information with me on how they are supporting the S-Series and the wider S-Series. You'll get some industry updates outside of the S-Series too, but you'll also get expert presentations and some opinion. And, what we do like to do at our conference is actually focus on the practitioner, have a little bit of theory, but then also have a look at the practicalities of doing a lot of these standards and specifications and software adoption. So you're going to learn a little bit about that too. And we will have lots of S-Series specification type presentations. You can check out the agenda. And it is an international audience already. Because TDW, we have a members portal. A lot of members will be on there as part of their membership. And we've already got people in Australia, Norway, of France, Germany, the USA that are already lined up, ready to join us online. We're doing a hybrid event. So that means we do have a number of people that are actually going to be there with us. So we can actually fist bump and do all those things that we've not been able to do for the last couple of years. But we're also going to have the online audience as well that can join us online and get involved. So it's physical and online. And the agenda is now available online. You can see that I personally believe this is one of the strongest agendas that we've put together for a little while. We're going to have some stuff on digital twin, digital thread. We've got some stuff on some of the gaps in things like S1000D. Where are the S-Series going? How are people adopting the S-Series? We've invited people from defense level organizations for a presentation on how they are looking to adopt things like the S-Series. So it's all going to be a big S-Series love fest. So if you're not familiar with the S-Series, watch this back, go download any of those specifications that may be interesting to you, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, because over the next few weeks we are going to look a little bit more at the S-Series. We're going to look at some of the changes that have happened from the last issue to the new issue, or what the role and the purpose of those specifications are. There you go. So if you want more information on any of this, all of the links are down below. Go check them out. And until next week, see you soon.